A Working Man is the latest film from Jason Statham and another collaboration with director David Ayer following last year's The Beekeeper. Now, I'm going to make it quite clear in the sense that there's quite a few David Ayer films I haven't seen, especially earlier on in his career. I have seen The Beekeeper and Suicide Squad though, which is some lineup. Jason Statham I have seen a lot more of, especially recently, but there's also a lot I haven't seen, so I just bear that in mind. Until researching, I had no idea that this was based on a book, and from what I can gather is it's well received and it's full of action and was entertaining. And oh yeah, the book is Lavon's Trade by Chuck Dixon. Again, I don't really read books at all. My brain can't really cope with words, so I of course haven't read it myself. So if people had different experiences with the book, please let me know. I'm just mainly going by Goodreads here. So it really does make sense to get a big and good action star like Jason Statham to play the lead role, and after the recent collaboration between David Ayer and Jason Statham for The Beekeeper, it just makes even more sense. A Working Man follows Lavon Cade, an ex-Royal Marine commando who leads a construction team and is close with the family that runs the company. On a night out, the family's daughter Jenny gets kidnapped, and Lavon feels he needs to go and get her back himself, as she is like family to him. Now, I didn't know a thing about this beforehand. I never do, yet I still say it every time. But if Jason Statham is in an action film, I think you know what you're getting before you go into it. I wrote down just before the screening that Statham probably plays an ex-army soldier or an ex-hitman, ex-assassin, something like that, who has a new normal job and must come out of retirement to save someone. Now, I think a lot of people would also have this prediction, and if you did, we were pretty much spot on here. The title of the film and the poster does give this away a bit, but still, I'm going to give myself that win there. It's very classic Statham, as he plays the same role again, as he always does. But he does it so well, but I think you can sort of let it slide now. I don't really spoil anything in this bit, but if you want to be like extra careful, just skip to this time. I've been reading it back and I've just realised I do say a little bit. I don't say much, but I do say a little bit. They jumped into the story pretty quickly. Like, she gets kidnapped early on, and he decides to get her back not too long after that. And it's a long hunt trying to find the people who are connected in all of this. These people, by the way, are traffickers. That's why they kidnapped Jenny in the first place. On this hunt, he meets and makes loads of different enemies in which are more related to the drug sides of the operation. I get why they included it, right? As Lavon needed a way to find the leader of the trafficking side. But I felt like we were spending less and less time focused on the kidnapping and the trafficking compared to the drugs bit, that it just felt too out of place. For me, you don't really see Jenny in the film past the first 20 minutes. There's only a few moments where she briefly shows up. They're in very harsh conditions. But every time she's on screen, although she's scared, she fights for herself. She stands up for herself. She attacks the bad guys when she's able to. She's strong. She wants to fight back. And I just wanted to see more of that. There is, of course, action in this, but not as much as I thought there would be. The fair share of action is stealth action, where Statham is taking people out one by one, being as quiet as possible so he isn't noticed. And I actually found these the most entertaining. Now, don't get me wrong, the scenes in which there are well choreographed moves and punching and guns and knives and shit, they're still great. I was entertained throughout every piece of action, but I think it's more the thrill and the tension of the stealth scenes that just make it more entertaining for me. Jason Statham will always be an entertaining action star, even if I think some of the films he's in aren't great, and even if one of his films doesn't have loads of action, I will still find him entertaining. A big issue I had though is that there isn't loads of action in this. This might be down to my expectations, I guess. Whenever I see Jason Statham, I think there's just going to be a lot of action, which might not necessarily be fair, but I feel like it's justified why I think that, and I think there just could have been more here. It ramps up a lot towards the end, and the best scene is towards the end. I guess I just wanted more from it. This movie just reminded me about how much it pisses me off when the bad guy's aim is so bad. Like, they will shoot countless times with any sort of gun, and every bullet misses. But Statham shoots once and gets them. Now, I get it, he's a lot better trained at this sort of stuff than they are, but the amount of shots they take, one has to hit. Like, this really got me. Like, I literally wrote this down as I was watching it. It's a little thing that shouldn't really annoy you, but it really stood out to me. I just thought I had to mention this. I thought very early on that the script feels like something I would have written in GCSE drama, and I failed GCSE drama, by the way. And this does get really annoying. There's a lot of cliche lines that are specific to action films. And speaking of cliche, Lavon's character just feels like a cliche in everything he does. But I think that's more of a combination of the script and Statham just playing the same guy in every film. Now, of course, I wasn't expecting the best action film of all time from a working man. I just wanted more action and more focus on Jenny. I do think it's better than The Beekeeper. They're quite similar, but I do think it's better, as even though A Working Man was predictable, The Beekeeper I could see coming from a mile away, and the action, although entertaining, wasn't the greatest, and that was a lot better here. And A Working Man has Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker, and I fucking love that song. So 5 stars. Now for real, I give A Working Man 2.5 stars. Let me know what you thought of A Working Man, and if you haven't seen it, are you going to watch it? If you can, please like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed, that would be much appreciated. And I'll see you in the next.